Okay, let's talk Elvis Presley. You picture the music, the stage presence, right? The king.
Absolutely. Iconic.
But what about Elvis, the racquetball tycoon?
Huh, yeah, it sounds a bit strange, doesn't it? But our sources actually detail this really fascinating short-lived venture, Presley's Center Courts.
Exactly, an ambitious plan for, like, a whole chain of these upscale racquetball clubs.
And it crashed and burned pretty quickly.
That's what we're digging into today. We're going to unpack this story using the details we have, who dreamed it up, why Elvis got involved, what went wrong, and maybe what it tells us about his later years.
And we're sticking just to the source material you shared. Okay, let's get into it.
So this idea pops up in early 1976. Who are the main players behind Presley's Center Courts?
Well, the sources point to three people. A developer named Mike McMahon, Elvis's own doctor, Dr. George Nicompoulos,
Hmm.
and Joe Esposito, his road manager. The vision was big racquetball plus health spas nationwide.
Okay, but why Elvis? He wasn't exactly known for his backhand.
No, it was all about the name, Presley Center Courts. The deal, as presented initially, was he lends the name, he gets 25% equity.
And crucially, the understanding was no cash from him.
That was the initial pitch, yeah. Our sources suggest he saw it partly as a way to get some financial independence, maybe from Colonel Tom Parker. Use his fame, not his funds.
Makes sense. So they formalized it.
Yep, contract signed February 76. Things moved fast after that. Groundbreaking in Memphis, Nashville by mid-April.
Wow.
Yeah, they were already marketing memberships, opening bank accounts, printing cards, getting the whole thing set up.
But this is where the feel-good story kind of takes a turn, isn't it? The warning signs appeared almost straight away.
They really did. Almost immediately, according to the sources, Mike McMahon tells Elvis something different. He says that 25% equity, well, it also meant 25% liability for the venture's debts.
Whoa, okay. That directly contradicts the verbal agreement.
Completely. The no-cash investment idea suddenly looks very different.
So the risk factor just shot up for Elvis.
Exactly. And that wasn't all. Elvis also found out McMahon was drawing a salary and had even charged a car to the company. This was despite, promises that everyone involved would only get paid from profits once there were profits.
So promises broken pretty early on. What did Elvis do? Did he go to Colonel Parker?
He did appeal to Parker, yeah. But the sources say Parker basically said, "I told you so." He'd apparently opposed the whole thing from the start and refused to get involved or clean it up.
Left Elvis holding the bag, essentially. How did he react?
Anger. Feeling deceived. Sources mention a pretty heated late-night call to McMahon, maybe even threats.
Yes.
Dr. Nicompoulos apparently had to step in, mediate a bit. He attributed Elvis's intensity to his medications at the time.
But the damage was done for Elvis's involvement.
Oh, yeah. Shortly after that whole blow-up, he got his lawyers involved,
Yeah.
formally pulled his endorsement, demanded they stop using his name. Finished.
But just pulling his name out didn't end it, did it? It led to legal trouble.
That's right. Fast forward to 1977, and McMahon, Nicompoulos, and Esposito sue Elvis, breach of contract for withdrawing his name.
And there's that detail from Marty Lacker about Joe Esposito's mother.
Yeah, that's quite something. Lacker said Joe's mother had actually mortgaged her house to help fund this thing,
Oh, wow.
knowing that apparently really weighed on Elvis. It suggested as a big reason he wanted to settle the lawsuit. He didn't want her to lose her home because of this mess.
That certainly puts a human face on it. So they settled.
They did. Reports say Elvis paid about $25,000 in damages and also provided a $40,000 loan, which, to be fair, sources say, was eventually repaid.
And the clubs themselves. Without the Presley name?
They didn't last. They operated for a very short time after the settlement, but couldn't make it work. Closed by the summer of '76, the same year they broke ground.
Unbelievable. Just months.
Yeah. The whole business entity, Presley's Center Courts, Inc., was formally dissolved by 1981. A total flameout.
So when you step back,
Yeah.
what's the takeaway from this whole racquetball saga?
Well, our sources position it as quite revealing about Elvis in that period. He genuinely loved racquetball. He even built a court at Graceland. So the core idea probably appealed.
Right. It wasn't totally random for him.
No, but the venture itself highlights some classic business pitfalls, right? It shows how crucial, clear, upfront, legally sound agreements are. It wasn't the lack of fame that killed it.
It was mismanagement, misaligned expectations.
Exactly. Bad communication, shifting terms. The fundamentals weren't there. It's described as a pretty clear-cut business failure tied to his name.
So this dive really shows, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Even the biggest name in the world can't save a business if the basics are wrong. Relying on verbal deals, not fully understanding the risks, it's a recipe for disaster.
It definitely makes you think, what does this story suggest to you about lending your name or reputation? How much weight do you put on a handshake versus a signed contract?
Good question. Think about where that line is in business or even, personal arrangements. What's the most striking part of this story for you? The king, the racquetball courts.
The quick collapse. We hope digging into Presley's center courts offered some interesting perspectives on fame, business, and maybe the importance of reading the fine print.
Definitely. If you found this deep dive interesting or valuable, please do consider liking and subscribing.
We appreciate it. And we'll be back with another dive into the sources soon.